Tag TV and Tag Radio be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. The new advertising campaign was unveiled in the spring of 2010 to impressive reviews. It quickly became a pregame rallying cry and popular fixture for tens of thousands of impassioned fans when it was shown just before kickoff at each home game. The new campaign was so successful, it captured a prestigious award, being named the bronze winner of a 43-year-old marketing recognition designed to distinguish the most effective advertising campaigns across the country each year. Greetings, everyone. It's Friday, December 21st, 2012, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Over the past 10 seasons, the Atlanta Falcons Professional Football Club has sold out 98 of 100 games in the Georgia Dome. At one point, it included a franchise record of 55 games in a row sold-out streak. A current streak stands at 40 consecutive games heading into the 2012 season. Up to the Tech Talk, Rise Up, and the man who developed the award-winning campaign, Jim Smith, the club's Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. He recently worked with the National Football League offices in New York City on a comprehensive brand review that created a new standard for the Falcon brand and put in place innovation brand policies to enhance and expand the club's overall image, both in the Atlanta market and nationally. Rise Up is the inspiring message delivered with the passion and motivational lift that only Hollywood star and A-list actor Samuel L. Jackson could ignite. Rise Up, a campaign that focuses on a team, an organization, a fan base, and a community rising up together to win a championship. There's more, lots more. Jim began his new position on June 1, 2012, yet he has spent 6 seasons as the club's Vice President of Marketing and as Vice President Chief Marketing Officer, heading up a staff of nearly 30 professionals, acclaimed as the most creative and talented marketing and sales team in professional sports. Maximizing local national opportunities by managing all brand affinity, inventory, stadium assets, broadcast rights, team marketing rights, new media, and event marketing. His impressive work has resulted in new partnerships with Ford Motor Company, Verizon, NAFA, Quick Creek, and SunTrust. And Jim's new media team, they have received national acclaim for their use of emerging technologies. Tag members, the Tech Talk community, all Atlanta, and the online world of Tag Radio. Rise up as we Tech Talk Sports' hottest team and even hotter Vice President of Sales and Marketing, National Football League's Atlanta Falcons, Master of the Medium and the Message, Jim Smith. Jim, welcome to Tech Talk.
Hey, Frank.
Well, let's start out. I think a lot of people are obviously aware about what you're doing now to a degree. Certainly, Rise Up. I can't imagine anyone that not only in the city or the state of Georgia or throughout the Southeast and now obviously around the nation hasn't really grabbed onto that phrase, what a great creative that is, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But tell our listeners, some of our members, a little bit about your background, go into your career.
Frank, well, thanks for having me on today, and thanks to all the Tag members who are listening. So it's great to be able to spend some time with you.
Well, this is about those playoff seats that you're going to play, right?
Well, unfortunately, they're selling really well right now. So it's all things are good here in Falcons Land.
I'll bet.
So this is my 25th year in sports and entertainment, and I've been with the Falcons for 9 of those, and it's been a great 9 years here in Atlanta. And before that, I was in professional soccer. I ran a professional soccer team in Columbus, Ohio, and then worked in collegiate athletics. I've got a real diverse sports and entertainment background that it really encompasses college athletics, professional soccer, professional football, minor league baseball. I've run an arena, 7,000-seat arena in Texas. and did a stint at the World Wrestling Federation.
Huh.
So it's really been a fun career, and I've traveled all over the country, both for career and for work, and really something special.
Well, I remember speaking to, we have a legendary icon in the entertainment industry in Georgia. His name is Ed Spivey. I won't go into his background, but Ed literally started the Film Commission in Georgia and was during the time of Smokey and the Bandit and Burt Reynolds and all that time frame, and became somewhat of a celebrity in his own right, traveled to Hollywood and met all these directors. And when you talk to him and you say, boy, there must have been a lot of people who wanted your job, he say, so did I. So I'm gathering that you have found your ultimate situation, or at least one that you're enjoying for the time frame, for sure, especially when the results are as good as they've been. A lot of people don't get what's involved. I think everybody kind of thinks, as we often do when somebody does it well, that things just happen. Tell us a little bit about your operation. Maybe go into, the staff, the budget. Do you use a marketing or a PR firm? I mean, how does all of that work?
Sure. It is a pretty big business, as I'm sure everybody can imagine, but done with not a big staff. I have 47 full-time people who work in all facets of our business, and really when you go to a game or interact with our brand, you're pretty much, and if it's anything except what's going on between the white lines, you're experiencing that brand through one of my staff. So everything from really, we talk to the driveway to driveway experience, and that's really what our organization on game day is responsible for. So that's our event marketing crew. That's everything that goes on in the tailgate lots. Everything that goes on game day, everything from the music that is played is pre-selected. There's a 98-page script that goes into putting on a home game day, and that is refined throughout the year. And then when you look at all the other things that kind of complement our game day, whether that be our digital media strategy and all our digital media team, all the sales and marketing folks, those folks who sell all our sponsorships, all our advertising, all our tickets, our suites, our club seats, and the operations that are behind that are all part of our marketing department here, as well as your traditional marketing staples like creative and advertising, your community service pieces, our client services. So all those things make up the 47 full-time folks, and then a number of seasonal full-time people who support them to pull off a season. And really, we talk about football in the context of it's not 10 home games. Football has really become a 10-month of the year sport. We take a break right after the Super Bowl, and then the draft starts to pick back up, and then we may have one slow month in the summer just before training camp starts. But other than that, it is a 10-month, really all-out sprint as we try to get ready for our next event or our next experience with our fans.
There's the kind of a parallel universe in a sense of what impact the actual schedule and the success of the team plays in terms of how aggressive and how successful your marketing efforts are. I mean, to a degree, there's only so much you can do when you're losing, and only so much you can do, or maybe even more to do when you're winning. I guess my question is, from a traditional marketing standpoint, how do you evaluate success? I mean, what does optimum success look like when you're talking about, I guess, breaking it into sales and merchandising and then even the brand recognition?
Yeah, we're a really unique property in that, one of our primary revenue streams has a finite number of tickets, and that is tickets. It has a finite number. We only can sell 70,000 plus or minus tickets per game, and we've been sold out for a long period of time. So you're right from that standpoint. How do we really measure how we're being successful? Well, we utilize a lot of research. We know how many fans we have in the marketplace. So we know whether our brand is attracting more fans, and we're growing our fan base over time. Obviously, our website gives us fantastic metrics, and we can see through web traffic, through our social media opportunities, whether that's through Facebook and Twitter, if people are following and engaging more. And really, it's that engagement that we're looking at, how much time they're spending with us, how much of their emotional energy they're investing in us by posting and doing those things. So that's a real good indicator, and we're measuring that on a monthly and in a year-over-year basis. And clearly merchandise sales, both from what we sell and then from what the league sells. All those are really really strong indicators along with television ratings.
Well, I was just going to say, even that. I mean, again, how do you measure it, though, when you're talking about certainly the aspects of what the actual cable or the stations do themselves, the networks do. But, you know, if you're 12-2 or 6-6 or something, that's got to make a difference on the TV ratings as well, right? Does that affect?
You know, it does, but, you know, a lot of it, you know, the record isn't as, you know, the record's important, and certainly wins help. But one of the things that we, in all our research, one of the things that we find that fans tell us most is they want to feel confident in the direction of their team. You know, we don't sell wins and losses because we can't guarantee those things.
Right.
What we can sell is a confidence level in your franchise. And I think that's what Arthur Blank, our owner, has definitely instilled on this community. People in this community know that we're committed to winning and that he wants to win. Obviously, he wants to win for himself and for the organization, but he wants to win for the city. And I think people realize that when the effort is in there, and even when we come up short, yes, they're disappointed, but they still believe in their team. And I think that's why, you know, our 5-year trend, yes, we've been winning, but we've had some ups and downs in those 5 years, and we've yet to win in January, which we hope to do this year. And all those trends and all those ratings and all those numbers continue to increase year over year, and that's how you know you're building a loyal, strong fan base.
I can only imagine that when social media came on the scene, that was exciting, but it also brought in a whole new group of dynamics in order to try to maintain not only an active communication going out to the audience, but an interactive communication relating back and forth. How much of that have you really developed? Are you pushing the envelope on that? Are you doing basic stuff as far as you're concerned, or do you look to do something really unusual or unique now and in the future?
I think we probably lean a little bit more towards the traditional, but I'll say that our organization and our social media team does an excellent job in the back and forth in the
So here again, you've got a social media team that actually is focused on doing only a segment of your group that's focused on handling only the social media aspect of it.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
You know, you know, part of there's two fantastic opportunities that we see in our business line. Two fantastic opportunities through that social media. Yes, it's the ability to do the two-way communication, and that is fantastic. But it's even better because the forum to listen is fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to listen, whether it's positive or negative, you can learn an awful lot from it. And that's really, you know, Arthur has one of his core values, which is listen and respond. You know, he instills in all of us that, hey, if you really want to know the answer to the customer's question, just ask, because they're going to tell you. And if we can deliver on that answer, then we're going to continue to build our fan base.
Well, interesting. I'll use this as a segue to take us into Rise Up. I really want to get into that a little bit. I can tell you that from my perspective, we're involved in new media, but we're also involved in the technology industry. Obviously, we do business around the United States. I think Atlanta has gotten more recognition from that theme than some of the economic development campaigns it's run over the past. I mean, you say you're from Atlanta, and the minute the guy looks at you and goes, "Rise up," I mean, it's a kind of a little bit of a shake goes down your leg, as that guy used to say, you know, kind of a thing. It was really kind of an energy. Talk a little bit about the campaign and obviously about its success.
Well, you know, we work with a great agency out of Dallas called the Richards Group, and they've put together some fantastic, long-lasting campaigns, and it's probably the last time I'm going to use the word campaign because really it's about a movement.
Really?
When we started when we started going down a process after, you know, a lot of people remember it's good here for the Falcons now, but it wasn't too long ago that we were in some pretty big turmoil. We had our marquee quarterback who was without a doubt the most electrifying player in the NFL, and he fell on some hard times and ran into some trouble, and what that ended up doing was really impacting our organization. And it made us go back and look at something and say to ourselves that never again are we going to make one person or allow one person to become our identity. And that's what happened when we had Mike Vick. By default or our own omission, he became kind of who the Falcons were. And that's not who we were. And we aren't one person. We're a team of players representing a city. So we went back to the drawing board and we did a big brand study. And we came back with one key brand benefit that we want people in our community, in our state, to feel about the Falcons. And it was that the Atlanta Falcons raise me up. that they make me feel better on Monday or any other day of the week because of all the things that they do in the community and all the things that they do on the field, that you're proud of the effort that this organization puts in and week out, that at the end of the day that we raise you up a little bit. Okay, so with that as your key brand benefit, we launch a movement called Rise Up. And the Rising Up was about all of us coming together, the team, the players, the fans, and the city and the state all coming together to rise up together in what we all hope ultimately will be a Super Bowl, a championship. And by doing that and delivering that message, there are a lot of real similarities between what our organization has done and what this city has done many, many times before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all you have to do is go back and look at your Civil War history to realize that this city has risen up from the ashes.
Sure, Phoenix.
And that when you look at what Dr. King did in this city and how we rose up through the civil rights movement, and how important a role Atlanta played. So this whole rising up thing was really unnatural for Atlanta, and I think that's when you mentioned that people get it, and it's kind of a phrase that really does embody the city. It does.
It does.
For all those reasons. And we just managed to kind of bottle it all up and deliver it in a way that everybody could feel good about. Because it was about our team, but it is about our city.
Well, it works. There's no two ways about it. I'm an old ad guy from the day, and I can tell you that every time I see one of those commercials or see a promo on it, it almost makes you want to stand up and put your chest out. And it is about the team, no doubt about it. But it has now migrated into the entire influence of the image of the city. I think it really has worked out and continues to work for you. Let's talk a little bit about target audience, because I got to believe that's kind of a unique situation. Usually you work on projection, the idea of growth, and do you actually, on one side, you've got the precedent, and that's keeping the existing, and as you mentioned, sellout audience, but then when you get involved in merchandising and you're getting involved in television, talk a little bit about the fan base and about who is your target audience?
Well, we're part of a very, very successful professional sport in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So really our target audience is anybody who might like football. And I know it sounds really broad and really vague, but I can give you who our core demographic is. But the fact is, if you grow up liking football, then you're our potential fan. And in our city, in Atlanta, with so many people coming from so many different places, and maybe with an allegiance to another team, we have to work a little bit harder to convert or to have the Falcons become that person's 1A fan. So we always say people move here from New York, and we saw a bunch of Giants fans at the game this past Friday or this past Sunday, and we may have converted a few of those who live here but have allegiances to their own team because they experienced our game day experience. Yeah. We always say root for the team that you live in their community. But you can always keep your allegiances to the past. So I think what we really, in Atlanta, what we fight for as much as as far as how we acquire new fans, it's kind of getting them to modify and adjust and be a part of our community.
Now, you mentioned, we talked a little bit earlier about the media in general, sort of the construction of your staff and in a way how they operate, but maybe, as we say, kind of dive in a little bit deeper and talk a little bit about maybe from a technology standpoint, mobility. Are you guys looking into apps, and what's the next thing as far as something on the horizon as it evolves to, say, cutting-edge technology?
Well, yeah, okay, so we do have an app right now. It's a Falcons app. You can download it on iTunes, and at least for the time being until the league tells us to stop doing that. One of those great things or bad things about being part of the NFL is that we have a lot of rules that have to be fair for all 32 teams. But we do right now have a fantastic app that's available for any mobile device, whether it be iPad, iPhone, Droid, all the different devices that are out there. And we probably have had it out there for about 2.5 years. So I'd say I won't say we were on the early side, but for a sports team, we were out there pretty early. But one of the real neat technologies we're going to launch, actually we're gonna beta it this next upcoming Sunday against Tampa in stadium, is an in-stadium seat upgrade technology. So from your handset, you're going to be able to download an app, basically, that you can see if there are any available seats that you might want to upgrade into, and at a small fee. But it's something that would seem like, why didn't people do these upgrades before? But really, it's technology that's taking us there, and it's really your mobile device that is now capable of doing it. And it's a company here based in Georgia that we're betaing it with, and we're the first NFL team to try it.
Well, you mentioned the NFL as it relates to keeping a balance in terms of a level of equality. I mean, how does that work when you're talking about aggressiveness or innovation? Maybe go into a little bit as you can, maybe about NFL restrictions.
Sure. One of the big restrictions that we have is we're all defined to territories. So we're lucky we're the only team in the state of Georgia, so we have the whole state of Georgia as our territory. But I'm not allowed to market outside that territory. So growing my national fan base is a big challenge when you're not allowed to leave your state border.
Wow, fascinating. I hadn't even thought about that, but obviously I can appreciate that to a degree. Go ahead. What do you do?
So, well, you work really hard at trying to massage a message that the national TV people who carry the games all the time can carry, that can carry for you. So much sports talk is out there, both on TV and on the radio, that managing it in the state is much easier than managing it out of the state.
This is really probably dangerous territory to get into, because if I'm thinking from your position, you've got to keep an equal balance as it relates to the media as well as to the NFL restrictions. But I guess where I'm headed is, it seems like no matter how good the team does, no matter how much they win by, no matter how good they're doing as far as the actual season is concerned, they'll mention 3 or 4 teams before they ever get around to mentioning the Atlanta game. I mean, I get frustrated sometimes after watching the game and then watching the news coverage, and it almost seems like, they don't get it yet. That I think maybe it's that January situation that you were talking about earlier. Maybe once we go the full route and really take it home, that I guess I'm stumbling around because I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's frustrating because I can tell you again, between the success of the team, the success of the campaign, you have got so many people that are tied in believing and backing up the message. I've never seen so much energy before, and I'm an old football, not only played a little ball in college, but also enjoy the game as far as being a spectator is concerned. And I can tell you I'm a loyal fan, but the other side of it is I've never seen more loyalty and more intense loyalty than I have in the last couple of years, and really culminating over the last year. Well, unfortunately, Jim, as time does go by, we've got to cut this one down. But, again, thank you so much for taking time. What a great job you guys are doing. What a great job you're doing. Bless you in terms of the opportunity and the continued success. And let's take it all the way home in January, and let's make it happen this year.
Frank, thanks. I look forward to talking to you next year about all our wins in January this year.